My Lords, I'm grateful to Lord Hunt for ensuring that we have an opportunity to debate the statutory instrument today, and to the Minister both for his initial response to the motion and for the time that he and his officials have spent responding to queries from myself and my colleagues, Baroness Brinton and Lord Clement Jones. My Lords, I revealed in yesterday's debate how I started my tech career at Avon Family Health Services Authority, and from there I moved to the FHS computer unit working on national NHS IT, so this reorganisation has a special interest for me. The subsequent path of the system that I work with, which is called the Exeter system because the developer hub was in Exeter, is illustrative of the constant reorganisation of NHS IT, of which the latest example is in front of us today. And I note in passing that early versions of the Exeter system were written in a language called mumps, like the disease, but in capital letters, proving that geeks do have a sense of humour. The FHSCU was incorporated into something called the NHS Information Authority, which was then split between the National Programme for IT, MP Fit, and the Information Centre for Health and Social Care. MP Fit was later rebadged as Connecting for Health, and the Information Centre for Health and Social Care found its way via a couple more name changes into NHS Digital, as already referred to by Baroness Finlay of Llandaff. And it can feel, my Lords, like the architects of these reorganisations have drawn inspiration from peristalsis, the process that moves the food through the body by contracting and expanding the gut. So the belief seems to be that we can make progress with NHS IT by pulling everything to the centre and then pushing it out again to the edges in a cycle of rinse and repeat. And I fully expect, my Lords, us to be back here in a few years' time being told that we've lost focus by pulling everything into NHS England and that we now need to create some kind of new standalone agency. We might call that new body the Unified Trust Operational Process Information Agency, or Utopia for short, and that's some free branding advice for the government. But the serious point is that in spite of, or maybe because of, these reorganisations, the NHS still has information systems that fall well short of what is possible and desirable. There are many excellent people who work in NHS IT, and there are examples of great systems being developed. But we cannot say that there is consistent excellence, and this is what the service needs and deserves, as other noble lords have said. I sincerely hope that this time we might get it right in the public interest, but experience suggests that we should remain cautious and test thoroughly what we are being offered. Now, an early test for this new structure will be the mega contract that has just been opened up for bids to provide a federated data platform, as my colleague Baroness Brinton has already referred to, that looks like it will cost the taxpayer at least £500 million. That's the number on the face of the contract is £500 million, and God knows what else will need to be spent in trusts and in ancillary services. Now, my Lords, we'll be asking searching questions of the Minister at all stages of the development of this project, as there are some elements that are already triggering the spidey sense of those of us who have seen too many big NHS IT projects go south, and by which I don't mean go to Exeter, but further than that. As well as the structural questions about whether this reorganisation will achieve its core purpose of improving IT support for health and social care, there are concerns about what it will mean for the treatment of personal data, and Lord Hunt and Baroness Brinton have done a very thorough job in describing these concerns, and I'll not repeat their arguments in detail. I do, though, want to reinforce their emphasis on the importance of independent oversight. I've worked in technology organisations, and I have huge admiration for the way in which software engineers, researchers and data scientists tackle problems using data. But their deep focus on addressing problems is not always accompanied by the same level of interest in documenting and getting approvals for all their uses of the data. This is not usually because they're doing anything wrong, but because they're in a hurry to explore a task that we've given them. Now, given this tendency, it is essential that we put in place good governance systems that do not get in the way of necessary uses of data, but do ensure that these are properly considered and that any risks are surfaced and mitigated. As other noble lords have argued, the iGuard system that worked for NHS Digital has broad support, and we need something equivalent in this new structure. I would ask the Minister also to consider additional forms of transparency that will help people to have confidence that data is being used appropriately. The overriding principle here is that you do not want people to feel surprised that particular kinds of data are being collected or that it is being used for particular purposes. And a healthy discipline that will help avoid surprises is to ensure that the data schema and the software code are made public, as this allows third parties to see for themselves what is going on inside the black box. This is not about publishing all the data held in the databases, which needs to be managed separately, but about showing the kinds of data that sit in different systems and informing us what the systems are doing with those data. My Lords, there's a common trope the governments like to trot out to reassure the public that they are putting in place a triple lock to show that something is safe, and this is part of the government's rhetoric around the online safety bill, for example. Can I invite tonight the Minister to commit to a quadruple lock in this case, given the importance and sensitivity of health and social care data? Lock 1 is the commitment to meeting fully all the data protection standards that are already in place for NHS Digital and in the General Data Protection Regulation. Lock 2 is to ensure that there is a truly independent body assessing and authorising requests to use data. Lock 3 is the publication of data schema so that we can see the full extent of what is being held and where. And Lock 4 is the publication of code that will allow people to check that what was authorised is what has actually happened. My Lords, I do hope that this reorganisation will both lead to positive technology outcomes as well as avoiding negative data outcomes. The NHS needs success in these areas more than ever. But I hope that the Minister will agree that our scepticism on these benches is healthy and makes it more, not less likely, that we will see those outcomes. Onward to utopia.